ngoba yini socialism wonke zandleni ayekho namuntu yini socialism wonke zandleni ayekho namuntu ayayesababu saba mabhujwa babefuna ayayesababu saba mabhujwa babefuna angalela wemesibona sinje angalela yemesibona angalela wemesibona sinje angalela yemesibona sinje angalela wemesibona sinje angalela yekhrisana ngalela wemesibona senje angalela yekhrisana ngalela yemesibona senje angalela yemvela sikunjani
Ulumsabala sumkhuthala mntana waqalwa
kobe
Ulumsabala sumkhuthala mntana waqalwa
kobe
yeyosunga
ngakhali mntana
yeyosunga Ilomzabana so yewaqalwa amandla kala hlobo kepeta le kathathu bokomande sendo yego goshabala yoyiga yoyiga Dioyiga, 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 Dioyiga. Sala hlobo kepeta le sathathu bokomane se doyego goshabala. Tobo kepetale katatu boko madese doyego goshabala Dioyiga 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 Dioyiga
Sekudala 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 o amandlethu awasikhokhele igazi lethu malisikhulule o amandlethu awasikhokhele igazi lethu malisikhulule sekudala 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 o amandlethu awasikhokhele igazi lethu malisikhulule o amandlethu awasikhokhele igazi lethu malisikhulule sekudala 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 o amandlethu awasikhokhele igazi lethu malisikhulule o amandlethu awasikhokhele igazi lethu malisikhulule sekudala sekudala amandla sekungcono silithathe sekungcono silithathe lelizwe sekungcono silithathe sekungcono silithathe lelizwe ngoba samba namakomanese samba nekhosathi ngoba samba namakomanese samba nekhosathi sekungcono silithathe sekungcono silithathe lelizwe sekungcono silithathe sekungcono silithathe lelizwe oba samba namakomanese samba nekhosathi oba samba namakomanese samba nekhosathi sekungcono silithathe sekungcono silithathe lelizwe mandla leli lizwe ngilokhokho bethu leli lizwe ngilabantu abamnyama leli lizwe ngilokhokho bethu leli lizwe ngilabantu abamnyama leli lizwe hane lizwe ngilabantu abamnyama leli lizwe hane leli lizwe ngilabantu abamnyama leli lizwe ngilokhokho bethu leli lizwe ngilabantu abamnyama leli lizwe ngilokhokho bethu leli lizwe lizwe labantu abamnyama. Leli lizwe thambo. Leli lizwe labantu abamnyama. Leli lizwe thambo. Leli lizwe labantu abamnyama. Leli lizwe lokhokho bethu. Leli lizwe labantu abamnyama.
Thank you, comrades.
Leli
Can we welcome the General Secretary of the Communist Party together with President Mbeki? Comrades, can we all stand? Qhubekani ngengoma. Engathi ayikho le ngoma eMpumalanga. Angiyizwa amandla le ngoma eseMpumalanga. Amandla! Amandla! Viva the Sacp! Viva! Viva the unity of the workers! Viva! Viva COSATU! Viva! Viva the ANC! Viva! Viva Sanko! Viva! Amandla! Skokhele mapayila, skokhele! Skokhele mapayila, skokhele! Thank you, comrades. I'm not chairing the session, I'm just facilitating. The chairperson of the Communist Party, the national chair, is the one who will chair the session. But after he has done the opening. But I must indicate to all of those who have the programs with them, we are going to go straight to item number 4 of our day 1, where we will take that item led by the Midlands Choral Choir, which is working, the students working together with the teachers. We will not have item number 5, we've postponed. That item, we have it first thing tomorrow morning. We will therefore call for all of us to stand to be led in the singing of the International, followed by the national anthem led by the Midlands Choral Choir. Can we all stand and we remove our hats as men. Over to you, choir. Nkosi sikelela. solidarity forever. Comrade Mandla uvumba ndandingutishara kwento zomculo. Thank you. Let's thank the Midlands Choir. Give them another round of applause. I'm not sure whether they were singing Solidarity Forever or they were cheering Soli or what. But one of the two. Thank you very much, comrades of the choir, for rendering those 3 items. Comrades, this is the SACP's 5th Special National Congress, which is starting this evening. But I will leave everything, the opening, which will be done by our national chairperson, Comrade Blade Nzimande. Babu Nzimande, over to you.
Ma, there was a kitchen girl in my farm. There was a garden boy, and that's why I'm a communist. I'm a communist. I'm a communist. Oh my. There was a kitchen girl on my farm. There was a garden. Oh, that's why I make money. I make money. Also, guess. Oh, that's why I make money. Oh, that's why I make. Oh, that's why. I'll pay the foot. Oh, Sammy. Oh, that's why. I make money, so that's why. I have money, so that's why. Amandla. Amandla. Viva the South African Communist Party. Viva. Viva the African National Congress. Viva. Viva COSATU. Viva. Viva SANCO. Viva. Viva the ANC Women's League. Viva. Viva the YCL Ufasimba. Viva. Viva the ANC Youth League. Viva. Viva SASCO. Viva. Viva COSAS. Viva. Phansi nokudelezwa phansi. Phansi nokudelezwa phansi. Phansi ngecapitalism phansi. Forward to socialism, forward. Amandla. Thank you very much, Comrade Deputy National Chairperson, Comrade Tulas. Let me start by greeting our General Secretary, Comrade Sorima Paila, the national office bearers of the SACP seated in front of us here, and all the members of the Central Committee. Let me also specially greet former President Thabo Mbeki, Ziz, Comrade, the former President of the Republic and the ANC. I must complete that part. Comrade Aaron Mtswaledi, who is here today in his capacity as Minister of Health, but is a member of the National Executive Committee of the ANC. Let me also greet members of the diplomatic corps who are with us here today, as well as members and leaders of fraternal parties. Greet all the comrades from our alliance who are here. And let me also greet our mother, Austimpoani, who is with us here. Medimpo. Ngibingelele no mama wasekhaya ka General Secretary wethu engimbonayo ekhona naye la akahambi yethu GS namhlanje. Manje mjwayele hamba yedwa akahambi yedwa namhlanje. And welcome to all of you, comrades. You will excuse me if there are people I've left out. The proper introductions are still going to be made tomorrow to recognize all our distinguished guests in particular who are with us here today. But I want to say especially welcome to all of you, comrades, the delegates to this 5th Special National Congress of the South African Communist Party. Give yourself a big round of applause for being here. We have had many congresses before, comrades, including now this 5th Special National Congress. We are meeting during a very complex period in our revolution, both domestically and globally. This is a period that requires maximum unity of the SACP. Because periods like these, they normally come with new challenges and new stresses, and we are not going to be able to deal with them as the SACP unless we are united. I nearly said we are not going to navigate. As the SACP, we do not only navigate, but we also have always played a vanguard role. Now, I want to say this, comrades, because being a vanguard party is not something that we wear like a badge or a cap and say, I am a vanguard. It's the role you are playing, and you must end to be a vanguard every day, every hour. If you were playing a vanguard role day before yesterday, and you continue playing that vanguard role yesterday, but you are no longer playing that vanguard role today, we are not a vanguard party. We must know that. I think this is also a task that we need to understand, all of us in the alliance. Sometimes, comrade, former President Mbeki, I hear our comrades in the ANC saying, I'm leader of society. We are leader of society. The ANC strives to be a leader of society, but you don't wear that like a badge and seek to impose it on people. You must act as such, that you become respected as leader of society. And such periods call for such humbleness and understanding of the situation that we face. Comrades, we are meeting here for the first time in 30 years with the ANC not being a majority party. It's a huge setback. It's a huge setback. It's a situation we haven't faced since 1994. It's a situation that we are facing for the first time. And we all went out, by the way, during the last elections to campaign for the African National Congress. And Comrade GS, I want to say, I'm witness from myself, and many of these comrades here were all out campaigning for the victory of the African National Congress. Surely it can't be that some of our comrades in the ANC, when we have lost this much, they start throwing stones and saying, we didn't see where we're communists. We were everywhere campaigning for the African National Congress because we believed that the ANC must not lose power. Of course, we were faced, as always, every revolution is faced with a counter-revolution. Part of the counter-revolution was this Moonshot Pact, whose aim was to begin by bringing the ANC under 50%. In the part, we had characterized this, by the way, as the anti-majoritarian liberal offensive. So they attained their goal of bringing the ANC under 50%. But they realized that they can't afford to just dislodge the ANC completely because they will not be able to face the realities that are facing our country. But let's not fool ourselves. To them, it's the first step for people to begin to be used to a government where the ANC is not a majority as a step towards dislodging the movement completely. Therefore, comrades, we're now in a situation where we have a government of national unity. No one bargained for this. No one wanted this. That's where we are now. And it's going to be very important that we provide the direction and the line as the South African Communist Party, mapping a way forward given these realities that we are facing. In other words, we must do what Lenin long told us to do: concrete analysis of concrete conditions. that we are faced with. We had always insisted, and we still do, as our General Secretary will outline in his political report, that we are committed to the alliance. We need this alliance. Perhaps we need this alliance more than we needed it before. And it is therefore important that we do not take each other for granted as allies, but we know that we are all together as one. That is very critical, comrades. But it's important also that we listen to each other. We don't want to sound as if we are complaining as the SACP. We have been calling for a reconfigured alliance for a reason. It's unfortunate that our ANC comrade more or less just dismissed this. We were calling this for a reason to say, post-94, we are in a completely different terrain. And we need to understand our role as an alliance in these post-1994 realities. Not as if we are deep in the 1980s or in the 1970s. And therefore we should discuss. And also we're arguing another thing. We welcome the ANC's renewal effort. But how can the ANC just renew itself without actually looking at its own allies? Without looking at the alliance as to what is happening in the alliance. As a result, we are of the view that in pushing for a reconfigured alliance and with our patience, this has been taken now to mean that we can just be kicked anyhow as the South African Communist Party. No, we cannot accept that. Acting as a vanguard means we know the direction which we want to go. But I don't want to take the words from the General Secretary. But at the same time, comrades, periods like this pose very serious threats and dangers that we must watch. Firstly, when we are faced with difficulties, our people are unemployed. We have got what we call the increasing crisis of social reproduction, violence in society, including gender-based violence. It's very easy to be populist when you are in front of our people, promising them things that you will not be able to do, but you want to try and buy the eyes of our people. To be a revolutionary is not to be populist, but it's to be popular by speaking the truth and providing the right direction. Also, another thing we must run away from, in Marxist terms, is to be voluntaristic. I'm not talking about volunteering, I'm a volunteer. Voluntarism is something will happen because you wish it would happen. Revolution is not conducted by wishes. Revolution is part of practical hard struggle. You can't say, because I believe the SACP will do this and it must do this, therefore it shall happen automatically. That's another danger that we face when we are actually having such situation. The task, therefore, comrades, is to wage struggles to change the balance of forces on the ground in favor of the workers and the poor of our country. Now, just a few points on the international context. Comrades, we are South Africa, part of the African continent. But our continent is facing difficulties that perhaps it hasn't faced. Perhaps Comrade TM Malumwam, since the days of the OAU. I don't remember ever 6 countries or so being expelled from the AU or OAU. The genocide that is taking place in the Sudan, I don't think we've ever had such a thing in the African continent. The growing arrogance of those who are still playing a colonial role in our continent refusal and stubbornness about the liberation and self-determination of the Sahrawi people, amongst others, the continent is not in a good shape at all. And that poses a question to us as revolutionary forces. What are we to do to deal with the situation that we are facing? It's very interesting, by the way. There's hardly any coverage of Sudan. There are more people dying in Sudan than anywhere else in the world at the moment. So that's the context also in which we are operating. I never thought I would watch genocide live on television, like what is happening in Gaza at the moment. And abated and aided by the imperialist countries. For me, I may be wrong, no bala, the genocide in Gaza actually marks the crisis of the so-called Western civilization. That in fact what is happening is showing the true colors of Western civilization. That you can allow people like the Palestinians to be butchered in this way, in front of the whole world and doing nothing. That's why we must thank the South African government for the stance it took by going to the International Court of Justice to actually report these Israeli bullies, and that what they are doing should be characterized for what it is. We know that on its own will not solve the problem, but it provides important ammunition and ideological battle to expose what is happening. The conflict in Ukraine, we must understand it for what it is. It's the imperialist offensive against Russia, breaking an agreement that was made between George Bush the Senior and Gorbachev of the Soviet Union towards the collapse of the Soviet Union. That if we allow the two Germanys at the time to unite, one of the conditions for that is that NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, are not going to move an inch east. Of course, in many respects, Gorbachev himself was very naive, I'm sorry to say so, to think that, because not long after that, when the Soviet Union collapsed, imperialism started dismembering Yugoslavia, moving towards the east. Now they are there, close to Russia. And this will not end there, because also the ultimate target of imperialism is China. So it's very important that we actually understand this. We have been friends with Russia long before, when it was also the Soviet Union, and supported us greatly to reach where we are. It doesn't mean we agree with everything that Russia is doing. We don't agree with everything that Putin may be doing domestically. But the fact of the matter is that that battle in Ukraine is a battle of imperialism against Russia. Now, comrades, these are some of the things that we are faced with as the SACP. That's the context in which we are gathering. And all these things require that we also strengthen ourselves in order to deepen solidarity with the progressive forces in the world. So let's use this opportunity for what it is worth. Let's not squander it. Let's debate. Let's be robust. But let's respect each other. Let's not throw stones or insults at each other. That's not the behavior of a communist party. This is going to be very important. Also, let's not be tempted to do things that may leave the Communist Party deeply scarred. We must avoid that at all times. Comrade TM knows, I have a friend of mine called Ibo Mandaza in Zimbabwe. You know Ibo? I knew him from 1986. And would also from then, 1986, 87, every year go to Harare. Some other times, of course, use that to meet with the ANC. By the way, Comrade Mbeki is the one who recruited me into the African National Congress in 1986. For those who care to know. Ibo always used to irritate me. He would say, after 1994, you see now, some of the things that are beginning to happen in South Africa, watch them. Because as Zimbabwe, we didn't wake up to be where we were today. These things started slowly, eating into our own movement and beginning to eat into our own government. And he used to irritate me and say, no, Ibo is jealous, man. We will never be like Zimbabwe. But where are we now in many respects, in terms of some of the things that have happened? The pillaging of our state capture, and a whole lot of things, including, by the way, factionalism within the ranks of our movement. That's why the party must warn itself about this. Because factionalism, once it starts, it never ends. It ends up being that one faction defines its condition of existence as the total annihilation of another faction. Yet we are in one organization. So we must not allow that to start in the ranks of the SACP. I want to thank you very much, comrades, and say you are most welcome. And I declare, by virtue of the powers vested in me, I declare the 5th Special National Congress of the South African Communist Party, starting today on the 11th of December 2024, open. So abashiselwa amabhantshi sebengawakhumula. You can take off your jackets if you feel hot. Now we are all at home. But I can't be the one who concludes that welcome without calling the provincial secretary who is hosting us here, Comrade Jacob Mamamulo, provincial secretary of the SACP in Gauteng. Kulu. Ujakobe wethu lo wasemakomanisini akuyena lo waseBhayibhelini. Yilo wakithi emakomanisini. Woza Jakobe. Comrade Panyaza. Comrade Panyaza, where are you? Where are you? Nasi sipane mfowethu zwakala ngapha. Wozohlala ngapha. Wozobe ngakuboni. Angik-acknowledgeanga. Please come and sit this side. So we know it's because at some stage we're going to call you. We know it's nice to sit there. Uzenza umas. Wawushintshe futhi. Amandla. Over to you, Comrade Provincial Secretary.
Amandla. Amandla. Viva SACP, viva. Viva COSATU, viva. Viva ANC, viva. Viva Sanko, viva. Viva Progressive Youth Alliance, viva. Raw Young Lions, raw. Malibongwe. Amandla. Comrade National Chair, let me thank you and acknowledge already the word of welcome you have expressed, but join you on behalf of our Provincial Executive Committee, the PEC in the province, to
extend revolutionary greetings to our General Secretary, Comrade Soli Mapaila. Let me also take the opportunity to extend our greetings to the entire leadership of the Central Committee, and of course to our alliance partners, the African National Congress, and of course let me also join the National Chair in acknowledging and extending a fraternal salute to President Thabo Mbeki. Let me also take the opportunity to acknowledge and greet the Chair of the African National Congress in the province, and of course our Premier, who will have the opportunity to greet Congress tomorrow, Comrade Panyaza Lesufi. Let me also, comrades, take the opportunity to greet the entire leadership of COSATU, and of course the leadership of SANCO, but also the leadership of the Young Communist League of South Africa, led by Comrade Mzwandile Takudi. Let me also take the opportunity, comrades, to acknowledge the presence and warm greeting to Umama Dimpo Hani. Long live the fighting spirit of Chris Hani, long live. Let me also, comrades, take the opportunity to acknowledge and extend revolutionary greetings to all our international fraternal and revolutionary organizations that are here, and of course to many of the fraternal and revolutionary organizations in our own country that have joined us today. Now, to all our stalwarts and the veterans, we wish to extend revolutionary greetings to them. Let me take this opportunity, comrades, to join the National Chair, who has done an excellent job already in welcoming you to our province. We are quite confident as the PEC that the Special National Congress will have a very good time, a very good Congress here in our province. And on that note, comrades, we wish to say to all the delegates, we wish you all the best. Enjoy our province. Feel free to travel to any part of our province. And we wish you very well, Chair. And we wish to say to all the delegates, enjoy the hospitality of the province. And thank you very much, comrades. Amanda, thank you very much.
Thank you, Nopal. Thank you very much. In fact, I went a bit too far, sorry. You should have been the ones to tell the delegates to take off their jackets. Ngafuna ukuthatha umsebenzi ebengingawunikiwe ungixolele kulo ndawana. Hayi Benson kumnandi ukuba usihlalo mana amandla onke. Ungathetha nje uhlala lapho. Amandla onke la kusihlalo. Comrades, the next item is item 8 in our program, which is the presentation and adoption of the Congress Credentials Report. Now, we're going to time you, Comrade Madala. You know, how are we going to time you? How long is it going to take for this Congress to adopt the credentials? That's a test. Our first Deputy General Secretary, Comrade Madala Masuku.
Thanks, Comrade Chair. We just want to indicate that we're expecting 469 delegates, voting delegates in this 5th Special National Congress, and also 202 of non-voting. We are going to focus on the voting delegates because we want to determine the quorum so that we can start. We'll deal with the numbers that are there for now, and then also the others will deal with them tomorrow morning again. We expected 54 members of the Central Committee. We have got 44. We have got, from the Eastern Cape, we expected 46. We have got 37. From Free State, we expected 25. We've got 21. Gauteng, 49. We've got 39. Limpopo, we've got 55. We're expecting 55. We've got 43. Moses Mabhida, 80. We've got 70. Moses Kotane, we've got 27. We expected 27. We've got 15. Mpumalanga, we expected 71. We've got 64. Northern Cape, we expected 20. We have got 16. Western Cape, we expected 26, the furthest province, 26, and we have got 26. Young Communist League of South Africa, 16. We expected 16. We have got 9. So the total delegates expected were voting delegates were 469 as indicated, and present is 384. We are still running short of 85. There are also, I must indicate that there are also areas that the Credentials Committee is still looking at, because we had agreed on a rule that you don't replace, but there are situations that were pushing us to take in. So they are part of that 85. So in terms of our quorum, we're expecting 236, and we have got 384, which means that we do have a quorum to start this Congress. So in that way, we request Congress to adopt these credentials. The meantime, until we go and until update tomorrow, and we'll be covering also the non-voting delegates, including our guests. Thanks.
Comrades, there is a board from Moses Mabhida. Moses Mabhida, province.
No, thanks, Chair. We stand as Moses Mabhida.
Zishoke igama ke gatsheni kuqala ukuthi ubani wena. Yeah, ukuthi ubani.
Matthews Ndlovu, I'm a voting delegate, being the first Deputy Provincial Secretary of the party in Moses Mabhida, from Herigwala District and Wamiando branch. We stand, having been part of the processes that drafted the preliminary credentials report to this Congress. We have participated. So we do accept the credentials as presented, understanding that there are still comrades coming, but we do have a quorum, which is much appreciated. We move for the adoption, Chair.
All right. Because I looked at this side now, let me just go this side. Northern Cape, there is a mover for the credentials. Northern Cape.
Comrade Chair, I'm not yet moving. I want to do a correction. Alistair Jack, the first DPS of the Northern Cape. We are 18 currently, not 16. And the other two are on their way. Thank you, Comrade Chair.
Okay. Thank you, thank you. All right. That's a correction. Free State.
Thank you very much, Chair. Greetings to you. It's Beki Stofile. We stand to second the mover to adopt the credentials as presented. Indeed, we do meet the quorum as required or prescribed by Constitution, and our expectation is that the credentials from time to time will be updated into the Congress. Thank you very much.
So we are supporting Free State. We are seconding. All right. Why is there Moses Kotani?
National Chair, we don't dispute having made a quorum, but it would be illegal for Moses Kotane to keep quiet when it has 24 people here accredited, and there it reflects 15. We don't want to appear ill-disciplined. That's the only way, Chair. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks for that correction, Nopala. It's noted. It's noted. So I hope, Comrade First DGS, these corrections are acceptable.
Yes, Chair, we indicated that at a particular point we took the number, so people are still registering, so there's no necessity of reporting the ones that have actually come in now. We'll correct it tomorrow.
So, comrades, these credentials have been moved and adopted. When I say time to Madal, it wasn't timing him how much. Is how long is it going to take this Congress to adopt its credentials? This is one of the shortest periods that credentials of a Congress had been adopted. Shailen is under more than that. Manda! Viva SACP, viva! Comrades, we made a mistake earlier. Ngisacela uChief Mahlangu aphakame. Uhleli phi? Uphi? Chief Mahlangu. Sicela ume nje baba kanjalo. We wish to acknowledge you. This is the brother of Solomon Mahlangu. Siyabonga Puti. Thank you very much. You come from a very special family to us as a movement and as the South African Communist Party. Ukube ngiyakwazi ukucula ngabe ngiqala le ngoma. Yo Solomon. Uba Was uzoyicula? Was uzoyicula? How?
Ela bolawa Solomone Sole Mahlangu Wayele socha Ela bolawa wayelisotsha elabulawa weSolomone Sole Mahlangu Solomone Sole Mahlangu wayelisotsha elabulawa wayelisotsha elabulawa Solomone Sole Mahlangu weSolomone Sole Mahlangu wayelisotsha elabulawa wayelisotsha elabulawa
Amandla siyabonga nobhala waseMoses Kotani ukurescuisha abanye bethu abangenawo amazwi right. Mabili amakhosi akwaMahlangu. Can I start by apologizing ndaba ezitha? Inkosi ayisukunyiswa. Kubuye kusho nje ukuthi ngowakadambuza. Nabangakithi labanye abakadambuza bayazi nendaba ngaphandle kwaMateyu lo oqhamuke emakhaya kwaMnyanda. Kufanele ukububula ubuzongikhuza. Inkosi ayisukunyiswa. Siyaxolisa ndaba ezitha. Khona omunye uChief Mahlangu waseWitbank. Ndaba ezitha. Hayi comrade Stofile kwawena uphakamisa isandla manje. Ho. Ndaba ezitha wamukelekile ekhaya siyabonga. Kuthiwa indawo yamakhosi ilapha not emuva. Ngiyacela ama-officials angisize okuyiwona wenza umsebenzi. Angikwazi ukumultitask. Ngiconcentrate kulo msebenzi engiwenzayo manje. So ngicela abantu nibahlalise ngeendawo zabo please. Yes, ngononini. The next item, comrades, is the presentation and adoption of Congress rules and procedures. Izolidwa second deputy general. No, akekho konje. Oh, Comrade Jenny Schreiner, please come and help us with this agenda item. You have got your own document.
I have got my own document. Amandla. Comrades, in your book 1, you have the Congress rules. We are not intending to read them line by line. These are the Congress rules that inform the way that the Sacp runs our congresses. Whether we are running a national congress, a special national congress, whether we are dealing with a national, provincial, or district congress, the rules are adjusted, obviously, in terms of the authority of the constitutional structure that is meeting. So we want to speak to them very briefly and table them for your adoption. Can I please apologize to Congress? The version that has been printed had been edited to be appropriate for this 5th Special National Congress and for the 15th Congress Central Committee. And to the Central Committee and to Congress, we want to apologize that what has been included is the version that still speaks to the 3rd Special National Congress and the 13th Congress Central Committee. So with that, amendments. Wherever you see the 3rd Special National Congress, please read the 5th Special National Congress. Where you see the 13th Congress Central Committee, please read that as the 15th Congress Central Committee. And then obviously the paragraph that deals with 7.16 that refers to checking out of the university. You'll remember that the 3rd Special National Congress was held in a university. We would be ensuring that we are checking out from this facility, this conference venue, and the date obviously would be Saturday, the 14th of December 2024. Comrades, in requesting you or in tabling these Congress rules and procedures, on behalf of the 15th Congress Central Committee, we would like to appeal to all delegates to read through these. Let's ensure in delegations that we are conscious of the procedures not only for plenary sessions but equally for the commissions, but most importantly for what the National Chair was in calling on us to put into practice. As a vanguard, we need to behave as a vanguard, which means that in all of our conduct during these 4 days of the Special National Congress, we should be guided by our Constitution and these Congress rules and procedures. Comrades, it covers the steering committee, it covers the attendance and credentials, it covers the identity tags that we all need to ensure that we wear, so that whether we are participating in plenary or in commissions, we are identifiable as either guests of that we've invited to join us in this Congress or voting delegates, and that is clear. It deals with our speaking rights. It deals with our responsibilities as delegates to a national Congress. It also deals with behavior that is unacceptable. And comrades, this is where, as a vanguard, we need to ensure that we are really setting ourselves as role models of the highest possible ethical standard in the way in which we conduct ourselves in congresses, as well as in our practice as communists. It deals with the responsibilities of chairpeople, whether chairpeople of plenary or in commissions. It's our responsibility as delegates to understand that and respect the fact that chairpeople are there to facilitate our robust discussion, but ultimately the reaching of conclusions. It deals also with the drafting and resolutions committee, the commissions, the voting rights, and ultimately the responsibility of the 15th Congress Central Committee to ensure that the records of this Congress are well recorded and kept in the archive of the party. So with that as a brief summary of what is covered in it, I do request, comrades, that we all study it and that we all ensure that we use it in the Special National Congress and that we sustain it in our practice in the party. Comrade Chair, back to you.
Thank you very much, comrades. Can I just, thanks, Comrade Madala. Before I move, call for a mover. If you go to page, it's under 8, chairpersons. Okay? Chairpersons. If you go to 8.3C, okay? I just want to draw your attention to this, comrades. The right of the chair to withdraw the right to speak where there has been an infringement of rules and procedures. Please take note of that. Comrades, what I would also like to emphasize before we adopt is that all this goes with keeping of time, by the way. I think it's going to be very important that we keep time because we have got a very substantive program. So we must arrive on time in plenary. Bengazi kusekhona abantu ababhemayo. Babonile nje abanye abambalwa. Ababhemayo kufanele bafike early so that they smoke baqede futhi bangami emnyango and stand this side and smoke and smoke and smoke then baqede. Mina ke ngagcina ukubhema ngo-2012, so I know what it is like. I managed to stop. Thank you to that. I stopped smoking, Dokotela. Yeah, and I grew up in a woman-headed household. My mother told me one thing about time. No matter how important you are, mfana wami, when you are going to meet with people, you must be on time. Because if you are not on time, you are being rude to the people that you are meeting. So being on time is not to be rude. That rule, Gamadlamin, is this gas set with me forever. Is President Thabo Mbeki. Now, comrades, we are going to ask Comrade Madala again to come now so that we adopt the agenda and the program of this Congress, which is very important. Comrade Madala? Huh? Oh, sorry, yes. Well, you know, comrades, you will excuse me, I was telling the General Secretary, it's the first time I'm attending Congress, General Secretary. So I forget that I'm chairing sometimes, you know. So, no, honestly, it's the first time I'm attending this Congress of the party, as chair of this big gathering. So please excuse me. So, uzongisiza. So, with first, comrades, can we get a mover for the adoption of the rules? Moses Kotane. Yeah.
Thank you. Comrade National Chair, before we move, 4.2a, we are testing our understanding. We feel like it's a wrong formulation to say SACP alliance components, which are ANC and its leagues. We have no alliance with leagues. If leagues are invited as leagues, they will be referred as that, but if not, they will fall under C, which is mass democratic movement and civil society.
Okay.
The next one, which you did not talk to when you were talking about the one you like of withdrawing. The one there, 8.4, we think that is wrong. It's a wrong principle to say the chairperson must vacate the chair if she or he wants to propose a motion. Congress will end up agreeing on many chairpersons. The chair of the session speaks whilst chairing the session, but does not go back and say, I want to be an individual. Can I speak now? Then it will be wrong if we do that.
So
and
what must happen?
No, Chair. When you are chairing and you are to propose, even if it's not you, you propose from the chair, but after having noted everybody.
Okay.
You don't exit as a chair and come back.
All right.
With that, Chair, we're proposing that you adopt the rules. Thank you.
That sounds nice. You chair and propose all at once. Aha! I support that fully. Who doesn't agree with that? Do we accept? No, Padre, you want to say something?
Amanda. No. I think it's important that we address this question, Comrade Matota, our Provincial Secretary, Moses Kotane. There's a principle to it. It's a principle of fairness and ethical and moral consideration that the chairperson of a meeting, it's pulling together various discussions. Is not in the discussion. But we understand he's a leader, he's a member of the organization. But at a point that he has a strong view, he must recuse himself or herself as the chairperson to make a point that can be debated by the rest of the meeting. So he doesn't have to, because as a chairperson, he can summarize and make conclusions. So that's the moral basis of this question, the manner in which it's articulated. But it is also important to say, these are different gatherings, okay? There are PC meetings, for instance, wherein even the chairpersons, or other meetings wherein the chairpersons also have to participate in the meeting. But they do create that possibility for their views, but to summarize the engagement of the meeting before the secretary comes in. So if they have to enter into the debate, they have to recuse themselves. It has been debated quite extensively, but if Unopala has got a view that the meeting, because the point is that he was saying it's wrong. It's not wrong. We have been using it previously. But if there are new views around how it needs to be reformulated, that's still okay. We can come into that particular direction, not but from a perspective that it is incorrect. I felt that because it was almost like received in a claim, that I needed to say something, Comrade Chair. Thank you very much.
Singangcono ubusemnyango man lento manje usuyawathatha wonke lamandla. Can you accept that, Moses Kotane, what the GS is saying? Now, I need a mover. Western Cape.
Thank you very much, Chair.
With the amendments made, by the way.
Yes, I must say, Chair, the issues Comrade Jane highlighted, which talk about the 13th National Congress and so on, are enough evidence to suggest that indeed these rules were never reviewed. Therefore, as the Western Cape, we move. And we are happy with the clarity of the GS, Chair. Amandla kubendoyikisa.
Ngiyakwazi awufuni ngibe namandla kulombutho. Comrades, can we get a seconder? Eastern Cape. Khabo mama. Ngizobuye ngiyibone impumalanga inkinga ukuthi la phambi kwami manje ne-height ngibuye ngisithwe le microphone.
Comrade Chair, Pumelelo Saziwe is my name. The concern that was raised by Moses Kotane on the current formulation presupposes that at that point the chair will be leaving in terms of the principle. There will be somebody else that must come. Therefore, in our support, the leadership, therefore, must not allow a vacuum in the chairing at that point. That's our seconding part. Okay. Thank you.
Point taken. Are you seconding, though? Can we hear your voice? Also, comrades are not introducing, you did introduce yourselves, Comrade Susan. Okay.
But we're seconding just having that writer.
Okay. Thank you. So, motivated, seconded, and the Congress rules are adopted. The next item, comrades, is, we are on item 10. Wow. This is very impressive. Now, are we to thank you, or you are to thank me as chair for being ahead of time? Comrades, we are now coming to a very important item. We've invited Comrade... before that? Adopted program. Sorry, comrades, program first.
Bandla, bese ngimangela ukuthi ngibizile uyangela ama powers lawo wasama Moses Kotane uyangikhipha No, comrades, we are presenting this program for adoption. In day one, from your program, we are proposing that item 5 will not be dealt with today, because there are certain things that have been raised that need some corrections, and at a particular time. We'll find time as we go on in the Congress to present that. That is the Sacp Heroes and Heroines Tributes and the observation of a moment of silence. So we'll be having those items: arrival, press briefing, special delegates take place, singing of the international, as we have dealt with, official opening, as we have handled that, and the welcoming address, as we have handled that, and the presentation of an adoption of credentials, and then presentation and adoption of Congress rules and procedure. Just there, when the people were laying out, they dropped this item we're dealing with now. So we want it to be inserted, which is the presentation of Congress program for adoption. Then will be followed by a presentation on the understanding of the struggle around the NHI, and then we'll have the announcement and adjournment. Then the following day, we are going to start tomorrow at 8:30 when we'll be taking our seats, and we're asking comrades, please don't look at that as the casual time. It's that 8:30 is actually coming into the hall because of the processes outside. We are asking you to treat it as serious. Then we'll have the introduction of guests and acknowledgement of solidarity messages. And then we have the address by a premier of the hosting province, Gauteng. And then we'll then have a presentation of the 15th Congress Central Committee Political Report, followed by the presentation of awards to Missing Persons Unit and acknowledgement of reburial of comrades from exile. And then after lunch, we'll then have the presentation of the state of the organization. You see there it has been written from 1400 to 1700. We have decided to cut off 30 minutes out of that. It will be 1400 to 1630, because that 30 minutes is meant for contra lesser. It's going to address immediately just after that item. And then we'll then have International Solidarity Evening starting at 17 hours up to 19:30 the following day. Then on the third day will be on the third day we'll then be having again the same process, 8:30, getting inside and settling, and then we'll then have messages starting from YCLSA, Sanko, COSATU, ANC, and want to point out to our fraternal structures, just observe that time, because we're not going to take it. Observe that time, prepare to deal with it as it is. If kunenja edlisikhathi idla esethu, because heat is so late. Then we'll be having then presentation of finance report, and then the outline of commission. So from lunchtime, up to dinner at 20 hours, we will be having commissions in sessions on the second day. On the fourth day, we'll be having same process taking place, and then commissions reporting until 12:30, and then the closing address scheduled for 12 to 13 hours, and then we'll have announcement of closure of Congress by the national chair, 13 hours, 13:30, Then we'll have a press briefing, 13:30 to 14:30, and then we'll adjourn. We want to point out there will be one item that will disrupt us. There is this practice that we have adopted in the party, even in the Central Committee. We invite our stalwarts. So stalwarts, from time to time, we give them an opportunity, because the reason why we are inviting them is to listen to developments in terms of how we're presenting issues. So from time to time, when they want to address us on a particular area where they think they need to present, we are open for that. And we have already indicated to them, and President Mbeki, at any time, you tell us and say, there are issues that I want to share with you after having listened to you, and there are issues that we believe that they need you to pay attention to. Thanks. So I have presented this program for adoption.
Okay. Thanks, Comrade Madala. Can we get a mover? YCLSA, Ufasil.
No whistling.
Umatota seems to have logged it so that he's the only one who speaks on that.
Thank you, Nobala. Thank you, Comrade Chair Mobile Gumete from the Young Communist League of South Africa. We move for the adoption of the program as outlined by the first DGS. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Second, Gauteng. Impumalanga iphakamisanga.
My name is Hope Apo. I come from the Sacp PC, coming from the Brian Bunting branch. District is Linda Jawani district in Gauteng. We support the proposal for the adoption of the program with the amendments which were made by the first General Secretary of our party.
Okay, thank you. Eastern Cape, I thought you wanted to second. You seem to be having an issue.
Thank you, Comrade National Chairperson. My name is Mpumelelo Saziwa. The branch is Gerald Hawks, sub-district is KSD. We want to raise the following. In terms of item 14, read with items 18 up to item 20 as message of support. In the last Congress, we had the same challenge where messages of support were presented after the presentation of both organizational and political reports. And we thought that we were understood when we said part of messages will be touching on political issues, on organizational issues, on matters that are not yet presented. Therefore, in our support of the program, we want to propose that message of support must come before the presentation of these reports of the organization. Second, we want to understand the essence of item number 13. This is a national congress. It's not a provincial congress. And here we are not evaluating the Gauteng government. We look at national issues. Therefore, for us, if clarity is given, and we're not satisfied, we want to move that item must be removed, because the Secretary of the Province welcomed us. We see a duplication there. We not win that clarity. Thank you.
Okay. Comrades, there are two proposals raised by the Eastern Cape. Can I check first if there is any seconder, there is any province or structure that seconds the Eastern Cape? Western Cape.
Thank you very much, Chair. My name is Benson Ngenzu, the SSB Provincial Secretary in the Western Cape. We agree with the Eastern Cape on the issue they raised in respect to the need for the agenda to be reviewed, that organs of the alliance should not speak after the General Secretary. And it's correct. It's an issue we debated even in our last Congress. That's the first thing. So we support them on that one. This Congress should review that matter as a matter of principle. The second point, we don't agree with them on the call for the removal of the item which is about where the premier of the province will be welcoming. It is not going to be the first time. It is not going to be the first time where the SACP would be welcomed by the premier of that particular province. So that has been there. Same as the issue of the arranging of the agenda. No leader of the ANC, COSAD, or what have you, should speak after the General Secretary. Thank you very much.
All right. Now, if I hear correctly, the point of the Premier of Gauteng, as raised by the Eastern Cape, is not supported. Yes. So it falls away. Nasi span mfowethu. Nasi span. Now, there is then this other matter of the agenda. When do our allies speak vis-a-vis our General Secretary? Is there a counter motion to that? Fresh start.
Thank you very much, Chair. It's not really a counter, but it's before I arrive to a point to agree with either suggestion, there's a point that needs to be clarified by the table. What is presented here, my assumption is that it might have been communicated with those that you expect them to come and speak. And when you do any alterations, you need then to be mindful of such. And I can't then stand here and say, I support the Western Cape, I support the Eastern Cape, because I'm not sure until such time that the top table give clarity on that. And then if the top table give a clarity, and then I will then say that. I think other issue about Gauteng, already I agree with the Western Cape posture on that. Thank you very much.
Okay. Right. First, DGS. I'm enjoying not being in the Secretariat. I don't have to deal with the difficult issues. So here you are.
I can see how you enjoy myself. Okay. No, thanks, comrades. We hear that issue that we need to have a conversation on it in the Central Committee. We have communicated this to our guests, and I think it will be unfair for us to just reshuffle at this moment and tell them to present at a different time. And number two is normally where we are supposed to speak last is in a rally, when you address the masses, because there you want to also clarify other matters that might have been raised. But in this case, presenting this report and our fraternal structures adding on the issues that we must go and still discuss in a law, we still have an opportunity to respond to them. That's our perspective, that they contribute and they're still going to this Congress. All what would have presented by the GS, by the first DGS on the organizational report, by our fraternal structures, would not be discussed item by item. They'll be going to commissions. So if there are issues that need correction, will then be corrected in that format when we come back. So we don't know if comrades feel that this is a contentious matter, is going to create a problem. If it's not going to create a problem, let's allow it to flow like this. We'll then discuss it in our next sessions in more detail.
So, ngesitswana kasitswana DGS uthi, let's leave the agenda as it is. Kasitswana yandata. Yeah. Kiabua. First DGS, you are saying, let's leave the agenda as is. Because whatever issues are raised, we will be able to discuss them in our commissions. Moses Kotane, what is that now about? I thought that the sentiment, influence follow up. Okay, Western Cape, Mzoza Gwena, Moses Kotane. And when a privilege, they were part of this resolution.
Thank you very much, National Chair. My name is Monde Ngulwan from Brian Banding in the Western Cape. Chair, this is the principled matter, and all of us will remember that in the 15th National Congress, the matter was extensively debated. Now, the expectation, Chair, is that all our fraternal structures are invited from today until Saturday. So there shall be and cannot any time that is allocated for them to come and speak. They are invited from today until Saturday. The issue of accommodating what and when they are going to speak after our president, which is the GS of the party, cannot be a matter for debate.
Okay. Be careful, ungabiza GS ngo-president. Ngoba I'm still going to pursue this motion kaMantashe ukuthi the office of the chairperson in the SACP ngoba ayina president iphendulwe ibe upresident. No, I'm going to give to you Moses Kotane. Go ahead, and then I want to suggest something. Mpumalanga as well. Yes.
Comrade Chairperson, Lina Laga, Kimadota Sambat.
Yeah.
Ukwaledi wa province ya Bukone Bupirima, Moses Kotane. Kihabo. Ganamela, Kijabu Reku. Chair, here's an issue. Chair, here is an issue. Let's not confuse. Here is an issue. The invitations on behalf of a Congress are constitutionally done by the Central Committee. So let's not change that indirectly. The issue, though, is that the last National Congress, which has powers more than the Special National Congress, debated the same agenda item and it agreed that the issue of addresses by alliance or messages of support must be above the political report and organizational report. The issue we must just accept is just that Deputy General Secretary, let's accept an explanation on having a power on behalf of Congress to invite and give date to come. as an issue we can't change now. We must not say they are wrong. But we say from this meeting, let's go back in a coming Congress and follow this one. Do that which we agreed in the National Congress, that they start, and they are not the last ones. But we can't then reject an explanation on logistical communication, which was constitutional. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Comrade Sambat. Msholozi waseMpumalanga. Ke utlwile ndata.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Comrade Chair. And yes, indeed, I am Comrade Nhlakanipho Zuma from Mpumalanga. Comrade Chair, I think that taking from where Comrade Madoda has left, we agree with the presentation that has been made of components of the alliance, speaking of fraternal components, speaking before the GS. But because already there is an explanation that has been given to Congress, we propose that we accept and proceed with the Congress. We don't bog down the Congress. Thanks.
Okay. Can I accept this as the dominant view in Congress? No, comrades, if you want to continue with this matter, we are beginning to break the rules. I make a comment to say, hey, aye, comrades, wrong foot. Now, we have Comrade Mtswaledi here. He's rushing to the airport. In fact, I was wrong to say that we are early. We are very late because he was to speak at 7. It's 8 o'clock, we are still here. And we can't lose this input. If we are not happy for so far about this matter, let's allow Comrade Mtswaledi to speak, and then we'll come back and conclude this matter and conclude today's proceedings. But I want the chair to be respected as a belief. Yeah, war. Yeah, bye, donkey. Now, I want to, Comrade Aaron, I'm very glad you came here. I must introduce you. This is a fellow GNU combatant. So angisangedwa manje Mtswaledi. You are here. Comrade Mtswaledi is our Minister of Health, as I have said. A real champion of the NHI, as you will actually hear him. And as I said, he is a member of the National Executive Committee. Mkhoman, come. You want that? Okay. Now, if we are to see that, it means we must join the masses. Okay.
Oh, I must be the only one on stage, Chairperson. Only. Yeah. I'm ready. Where is this thing? Madam, where do I point? Where do I point to move this thing? Eh? Where do I point? It just disappears. Hey. Okay. Thank you very much, Comrade Chair. Let me salute the leadership of the party. Also greet our veteran Comrade President Thabo Mbeki, and all the delegates. Comrades, I cherish this opportunity. You don't know how happy I am, because I've got a feeling that this issue of health care, if we are not careful about it, is going to embarrass us at a very wrong time. In terms of transformation, I am not going to stand here today to deliver the NHI Act and start arguing with you that section this and that says so, section this and that. It won't help, much as it is important for you to know the Act, because I can assure you, the majority of people who oppose NHI have never read that Act. You can hear from their oppositions. They are opposing about something they read in some paper somewhere, but they never read the Act. So I'm not going to explain the Act to you. I'm going to show you what the healthcare system of South Africa looks like today. You will make up your own mind whether that situation must be left or whether that situation can be cured by NHI or whatever system is being proposed to cure it. That's what I'm going to do. But as a starting point, this thing is not moving, man. Yeah, as a starting point, comrades, I want to show you this because it's important. A healthcare system. A healthcare system is not just conducted in the vacuum. The World Health Organization has defined long ago what a healthcare system must look like. And they said it has got 6 building blocks. You might simplify it and say it has got 6 pillars. So that when you want to look at your healthcare system, whether it is running well or not, you do it in terms of the pillars. You put yourself in terms of those pillars and see where you are. Now we all know the pillars of any building. If any one of them gets weak, the whole building is going to shake and it will have problems. Now, the pillars of healthcare system, if any one of them goes weak, the population will feel it. They won't know, of course, because they don't have that skill or information. They won't know that this is a pillar that's missing. But they'll feel it. They'll feel that something has gone wrong. Now, the first pillar is leadership and governance. What is the leadership of a healthcare system and how is it governed? The second one, access to essential medicines and other commodities. Early on in this session of government, in this term rather, there was a shortage of syringes and needles in the Eastern Cape because something went wrong with procurement. The population did not know that that is pillar number 2, but they felt it. It was shaking because there are people who can't live without a needle. People who are diabetic, who must inject themselves 3 times a day in order to survive. If you tell them there's no needle, it's a death sentence. So they will definitely feel that there's something wrong with our healthcare system. Then there's a health workforce, which many people will believe is nurses and doctors. Anybody working within the hospital yard constitute part of the health workforce. If you want to see it, just fill the hospital with doctors, surgeons, very senior surgeons and nurses, and have no ladies who sterilize equipment. No operation will be conducted in that hospital. You'll start feeling the importance of the lady who is in the laundry, washing sheets or sterilizing equipment. So the whole health workforce must be looked at. The fourth one, comrades, I put it in red for good reasons, not because of your Congress, but I put it in red. I'll explain to you why. And I'm going to come to it later. Why is it in red? The health system's financing, how your healthcare system is financed. The fifth one, health information system. We are busy implementing it after 8 years of creating it. What do we mean, comrades? We are still running a healthcare system where one patient can be treated by 10 different doctors in the same way without any one of the doctors knowing. Not only doctors, institutions. You can go to a private hospital tomorrow. They examine you, they do tests, they give you treatment. You can leave it at home and go to another private hospital and start from the beginning. And on the third day, drop them, go to a public hospital and start from the beginning. You can keep on doing that and putting the medicines back at home. Nobody will know that actually you are repeat, because we don't have a health information system that talks to that. We have asked the CSIR to do it. It took them about 8 years, but it's completed. We have just piloted it in the clubbing in the Free State. We are now rolling it. It's going to work in both public and private. It's not solely for the public sector. And we are not the only people in the world who are suffering a lack of a healthcare system, health information system. That's why it's a pillar of healthcare. The last one, health service delivery. This talks to packages to which the population receives health. If I'm a woman and I'm pregnant, what can I expect from the healthcare system? What is there for me? Which is standard, which I may expect, and if it's not there, I can be able to lodge a complaint. Once I deliver a baby, what is due to that baby until the baby reaches our age? Because you need to be nurtured. If tomorrow I contract TB, what do I expect from the healthcare system, both public and private? That's health service delivery. Now, I want to pause a little bit and go to something that is related to what we are dealing with here. What is called the Alma Ata Declaration. Alma Ata is a small town, very small town, in the former Soviet Union. After the dismantlement of the Soviet Union, Alma Ata is in the state of Kazakhstan. On the 6th to the 12th of September 1978, the World Health Organization and UNICEF, United Nations Children's Emergency Fund, they call a joint conference in that small town of Alma Ata to talk about primary health care, because they were worried that except countries such as Cuba, the rest of the world is moving on a curative healthcare system. We are waiting inside the hospital and inviting people to get sick and believe that we have got all the instruments and the power to fix them. That's a curative healthcare system. And that was worrying the UNICEF and World Health Organization. 164 countries attended this conference. There are 3 things which are on the screen there that emerged from this conference. The first one, they defined health. Even if I may fill this hall with doctors who deal with health and ask them a definition of health, I may likely get as many definitions as there are doctors in the room. Nurses, doctors, or even health workers. Even you, if I ask you today, what do you think is health? I'm going to get as many definitions as the number of people in this conference. And Alma Ata thought it is better to define it. And they said health cannot just be defined as the absence of disease or infirmity. Must be defined in 3 ways. 1, is a state of good physical health, yes. Good physical being, yes, which everybody knows and thinks. But they also said it's also a stage of mental well-being. And lastly, and more important, social well-being. So when you define a health of a nation, you must look at these 3 things. Are people physically okay? What about mentally? And mental health doesn't mean you are mad. Yes, you can have serious mental problems without being defined as mad. Bereavement is one of those. Losing a job, depression and all that. Now, are those individuals healthy in terms of mental well-being? Social well-being measures many things. It measures education, housing, level of income, etc., etc. And all of them are important to define the health of a nation. Not just because people are not popping pills and what. That's the first thing they did in Alma Ata. The second thing is to declare something that was already declared in 1948, that health is a fundamental human right, and attaining the highest standard is a most important worldwide social goal. That was defined in 1948 during when the World Organization was formed, but also during the Declaration of the Rights of People they defined health as a fundamental human right. I'm emphasizing it because when you declare a right, you then cannot tell the population that they must come and buy that right. But that's what is happening in South Africa today. We have declared healthcare as a right in Section 27, but we are inviting the population and say, those who have got enough money, please come and buy this right. That's what we're doing, and it's wrong. The last, and I'm going to read it verbatim, it's because important. That is Article 2 there. They said the existing gross inequality in the health status of people, particularly between developed and developing countries, as well as within countries, is politically, socially, and economically unacceptable and is therefore of common concern to all countries. That's Alma Ata. Whether you look at inequalities in health from the political point of view, whether socially or even economically, is unacceptable. And countries must be concerned with it. And it needs to be changed. Alma Ata ended with a slogan, health for all by the year 2000. Meaning by the year 2000, the healthcare systems must be run in such a way that all human beings experience this highest standard of health. I was a first-year medical student when Alma Ata said, we used to sing this declaration. But because I was an activist, we were not happy with Alma Ata. The fact that they say by the year 2000. Because the year 2000 was 22 years away. And we were saying, why do they make us wait for 22 years before people enjoy this highest standard of health? Now the bad news is that 22 years came and went, and the situation became worse in many parts of the world, including in our own country. So the primary health care should be the basis on which healthcare systems are based. That was the essence of Alma Ata. Now, I am going back to that red thing there. Health system financing. When we talk about health system financing, we are not talking about the budget. That one is not complex. It's difficult but not complex. Ministers of health all over the world, they stand in front of parliaments and read the health budget. That's not what it means. Healthcare finances goes deeper than that, as I'm going to show you later. How do you finance your healthcare system? Why is it red? Because NHI is exactly that. There are many people who give NHI different names. A new healthcare system, which is so expensive that the country cannot afford it. A new healthcare system that needs you to have brand new hospitals, a lot of nurses, and a lot of doctors first, and a lot of equipment. You have got to get ready. You must get ready for it and all that. That's exactly what they believe NHI is. It's not, comrades. NHI is simply a healthcare financing system. And it talks to two and only two things. When you define NHI, the two things must be there. Those who oppose it prefer only the first one. What is it? That every human being must receive good quality health care. Exactly what Alma Ata said. That's number one on NHI. Every human being must receive good quality health care. But number two, which is the one that is being fought in the media and everybody who fights NHI, is that when you receive that health care system, you must not suffer financial hardship. You mustn't suffer financially. You mustn't become poor because you got sick. And you may take this as a simple thing because it has never happened to you. The World Health Organization has got figures, numbers of people, and they are counted in billions, not millions, who were never classified poor under the United Nations classifications of poverty, who were never below the poverty datum line. They were living normal life. But somebody got sick at home. Somebody got cancer. Somebody got stroke. And all of a sudden, out of that instance of trying to make this person get well, they now get classified as poor. That's the essence of healthcare information system. Now there, on those building blocks, believe you me, no matter how hard you work, if you don't get number 4 right, forget. All these others, you will never get them right. And you'll be attacked every day. You will never get a good health, work health force. You'll always be having a shortage of doctors or nurses or health workers. You will always have problems with medicines and other commodities and buildings and infrastructure, as I've said. You'll always have problems with health service delivery systems. You won't be able to achieve them if you didn't get number 4 right. And number 4 is NHI. Now, comrades, there are only 3 methods in the world of financing health. If any one of you know the 4th one, please tell me, I'll add it on those slides. But for now, we know only 3 methods of financing health. Yeah, I want you to concentrate very seriously now. The 3 methods of financing health are represented in those graphs. These graphs were made by the World Organization in 2009. It's called National Health Accounts Data Set. They went from country to country. But as you see there on the map, it's Europe, it's mostly countries in the West. They are showing how they finance their health care. The first method is called mandatory prepayment of health. It is blue there on those graphs. It is the blue bars. Mandatory prepayment of health means you are paying for health before the person is sick. That's why they say prepayment. But it's mandatory. Once a country establishes it, it's mandatory for every citizen. That is what is called mandatory prepayment of health. A budget of a country falls within that. Mandatory prepayment is not only the budget. When a minister of health, of finance stand up and read and say the health budget this year is this much, he is actually paying for the healthcare system before people are sick. But the manner in which it's done, as I'm going to explain, will define one country from the other. The second is called voluntary prepayment of health. You are paying for health before the person is sick, but you are doing it voluntarily. In South Africa, it has got a very simple name. It is called medical aid. That is the red thing on those graphs. It's called medical aid. I did not put the name medical aid there because I did not develop those graphs. They come from the World Health Organization. And not every country calls this thing medical aids. Countries call this thing different names. Some just call it medical insurance, health insurance, what. We call it medical aid. But the generic international name or global name is voluntary prepayment. That is red. The last is out of pocket. And out of pocket is simple, cash. For everything you get in health, you pay cash from your pocket. In exactly the same way that you do in a supermarket. If you want good health, you must pay for every article. Now the World Organization call it out of pocket. Now what are you looking at? What are you seeing there on the screen? As I said, those are mostly rich countries. But when you go to the extreme, that is your extreme right. On the extreme right, there are 2 countries there. Why they are not standing with the others is because the World Health Organization declared them outliers. Outlier. I think in my language, Pedi, outlier, the nearest definition of it, ke lijela thoko. I think so. I don't know any other way of defining it. Ke lijela thoko. You are doing what other people are not doing. You are alone. Who are the outliers there? This issue of South Africa and US being outliers was defined as far back as 2009. Why are we outliers? Because we are doing what the other countries are not doing. Our preferred mode of financing health, as you can see, is red and green. It's what? Medical aid and cash. All other countries are moving to mandatory prepayment. Now, NHI is mandatory prepayment. The World Organization called universal health coverage. Not universal health care as people are saying. It's universal health coverage means everybody must be covered with the money that is available for health within the borders of that country. So we and the US are friends on this. You can call them imperialist, comrade GS, but you are doing exactly what they are doing. In fact, we are worse. We are worse. As you can see, 60% of our healthcare financing is medical aid or cash. You will notice, anyway, it's important for the communists to know. You can see Cuba is number one there. No, it is. You can see Cuba is there. Towards the end, between Costa Rica and Thailand, is Cuba. It's number one in this healthcare financing for obvious reasons. The other countries follow. But you can see a lot of Scandinavian countries. You can see even the United Kingdom there, the UK, because of what they did in 1948 when they established the National Health Service. It was a healthcare financing system that covered all the Britons. So that's the first thing I want you to notice. But look at this one. Africa, a disaster in the making. This is Africa. The World Organization declared it a disaster. Why? Because the most important mode of healthcare finance in Africa is green, meaning what? Cash. It's cash. And this is the continent where people don't have cash, but they are required to pay for their health in cash. The countries where people have got cash, like the Western countries, they are moving towards a different method of financing health. So this is Africa, but you notice something again on that slide. You notice the red, which is cropping up here, is what? South Africa. The second red is Namibia, because Namibians are using South African medical aids. We have actually infected them with our disease. So they are part of us, unfortunately. But comrades, that is worrying. This is not a joke, it's worrying. That in the continent where people generally don't have money, you are saying when you are sick, you must pay cash. I personally experienced this in 2002. I was in Kenya with the state visit with the president. I fell sick during the middle of the night. 2 o'clock, they took me to Nairobi Central Hospital, which is a private hospital. I saw it alive there and kicking. Firstly, they told me, we don't take South African medical aids, even though I've got one of the most expensive medical aids. Now there's a young girl next to my bed with a speed point. With a speed point. Yes, I'm telling you what happened to me in Kenya. I know it's happening in South Africa. But when I saw it in another country, it was very funny. And she said, Minister, the doctor said we must give you an injection. Can you swipe, please? Yes, I took my, debit card. Then I was given an injection. She came back 30 minutes later. Minister, the doctor ordered a drip. We want to put a drip on you. Can you swipe, please? Yes, I swiped for the second time. Third time, they bring another young girl. They said, this is a physiotherapist. Because the problem was the sole of my foot. They said they are going to measure it and put you a pad and all that. Can you swipe, please? I swiped for the third time to get that health care. Meaning if I did not swipe, no health care. That is the disaster that is in our continent. It happens every day here without you seeing it. So the World Organization said we must come with universal health coverage. Those are the countries that started it. There's one myth I want to what you call. There's one myth I want to demystify. That you need to be rich to come up with universal health coverage. When the UK did it in 1948, how rich were they? It was 3 years after the Second World War. The UK was butchered and battered. They were sick. They were unemployed. And they were poor. And they realized in order to protect the population, we need this system where your treatment must not depend on the strength of your pocket. Many other countries followed later. Even Obama. The thing you call Obamacare, the official name is Affordable Health Care. Barack Obama was not mad. He was aware that the healthcare system in America is going to collapse because it's unreachable now. Many people can no longer afford health care in America. I don't know whether you saw what happened last week. A CEO of one of the biggest medical aid schemes was killed. Did you see how people celebrated? Yes, they did. That's very bad. You don't celebrate when somebody is dead. But because they no longer want this privatize insurance system because they are no longer being treated. They just refuse to pay you, as I'm going to, to treat you, as I'm going to show. I do not want to scare you, but I want you to write it down. If we don't change this system, we are going to arrive there at some stage where the population start celebrating death of other people. It's going to happen. I don't wish it, but it's going to happen. Now, what is the situation in our country in healthcare financing? According to the World Health Organization, they have declared that if a country must run a good healthcare system for its population, it must spend 5% of its GDP on health. I'm not talking about the budget, comrade. Please understand that. It's the GDP. If you spend just 5% of your GDP on health, then you are likely to have a good healthcare system for the population. And there's an unlikelihood that some people, members of the population, will suffer if you spend 5%. Now, where are we in South Africa? We have far exceeded that 5%. We are at 8.5% of the GDP. That's what we are spending on health. How much money is there? It's 570 billion. More than R1 trillion. That's what we are spending on healthcare. So what's wrong? Why are we not getting the results we're supposed to be getting? The people who oppose NHI will give you an answer immediately. Corruption, I'm not going to challenge that. It does happen. Mismanagement, I'm not going to challenge that. Incompetence, I'm not going to challenge that. Negligence, etc., all those, yes, are happening in the public healthcare system. But they are leaving behind the most important one that brought us here where we are. What is it? It is that out of that 570 billion, or 8.5% of the GDP, 570 billion, or 8.5% of the GDP, 51% of it goes to only 14% of the population. That's the gist of our problem. And the remaining 49% goes to 86% of the population. So if you want to see gross inequality in health, you come to South Africa. It is gross in health than in any other sphere. You won't find that in education. But in health, it's like that. We are spending 51% of the total health expenditure, which is 8.5% of our GDP, on only 14% of the population. And the 86% of the population must still finish. I know that I might be getting overexcited, but please allow me to show this. Who are these 14% of the population? Many of you here fall within that. You might be communists, but you fall within that, unfortunately. And there's nothing I can do about it. Yes. It's teachers, because they are on medical aids. It's nurses. It's managers, including DGs, DDGs, chief directors. It's police. It's the army. It's the judiciary. It's all of us in the executive, starting with the president and all that. We are all part of that 14%. And many of you sitting here, you're part of that 14%. Where between you and your families, we're spending 51% of the total health spent on us and our families, and we are leaving the masses. Now, they tell me all the time when there are attacks that this is private money. Why do you worry about medical aid money? In fact, there are people who came and said, look, I pay tax. Take my tax and go and help the poor. Why do you trouble me? Because this is private money. I want to show you it's not private. Every year, the state subsidizes private health care for 70 billion rand. Not million, 70. Why? Because all those people I'm showing there, it was just my way of showing people working for the state. All the people I'm showing there have got a medical aid subsidy. Any one of you who has got a medical aid and working for the state, you are being subsidized. And when we calculate that total money of the subsidy, it's 70 billion. The poor are not having any access to that money. But then there are tax rebates. What are tax rebates? At the end of the year, any person who's on a medical aid, whether you are working for the state or not, it doesn't matter who your employer is. If you have got a medical aid, SARS will give you tax rebates or credits at the end of the year, and those tax credits, they total 30 billion. So when you add 70 billion rand, leave the fiscus through Treasury and SARS to go and subsidize people who are well off. 2 months ago, the president confronted me. He said, Minister, I'm the highest paid public servant in the country. Why am I being subsidized? And I said, Mr. President, unfortunately, you are not the highest paid. Let's start there. You're not. There are people under you who earn more. Yeah. Yes, that's true. Some of these CEOs of medical aid companies, they earn up to 9 million rand per annum. And some of them work for the state. So I said, President, let's forget about you being the highest earner. That's what people think. It's not like that. But let's come to this issue of subsidy. That's where the issue is. Why are we being subsidized? Why are members of parliament, the army, police, getting so much subsidy which the masses can't get? This is the problem that we're faced with. Now, what are we doing with this money? Let's look at BRICS. I have excluded the new BRICS members. I've gone to the original BRICS members who were still 5. The middle row, the third row from the bottom, from the top, as you can see it, the highest spender is Brazil. It is spending 9.89% of its GDP on health. That's number 1, Brazil. Number 2 is South Africa. Our 8.5% put us at number 2. Number 3 is the Russian Federation. We've even overtaken them. Number 4 is China. We've even overtaken the second biggest economy in the world in terms of healthcare expenditure. India is number last. They've not even reached the recommendation of 5%. India has not even reached there. We have reached it more than 2 times. But what is the issue here? Let's go to health outcomes. What are the health outcomes on health? When we say outcomes, what do we mean? Let's start with life expectancy. As you can see, South Africa is red. Our life expectancy is lower than all those countries, despite the fact that we are number 2 in expenditure. You can go to infant mortality. You can go to maternal mortality. You can go to under 5 mortality. You can go to HIV and AIDS. You can go to prevalence of TB. We are red. The only time where we show with all these BRICS countries our being red, where we are all failing, is in that middle row, as you saw, is what? Is communicable diseases. Diabetes, high blood pressure, cancer. It hits all countries the same all over the world. They are all red. But when it comes to all these other diseases, South Africa is red. Brazil is not red on any of the things except on non-communicable diseases because it's spending a lot of money, but they are seeing results for it. We don't see the results. We just pouring money in, but there are no results, as you can see with that. Now, I'm going to try and skip quite a number of things. What happened to us? Why? Where is all this money go to? What went wrong? If you look at that graph, it shows the private healthcare system in the country. It's only private, there's no public there. As you know, we've got 3 big private healthcare groups: Life Health, Mediclinic, and Netcare. But we also have independent. Independent were small hospitals or clinics. Some of these were just day clinics. They were very affordable. In 1996, they were very prevalent. 50% of the total beds in private health care were owned by them, as you can see, on the extreme there, 1996. They were having 50% of the beds. In 1998, I don't know why those years appear like that on the screen, but it's 1996, 1998, 2000, 2002, etc. In 1998, something called market concentration happened. You know it very well. When you start mergers and acquisitions, absorbing the smaller ones and making big monopolies and all that. That's market concentration. It took 10 years. At the end of it, you can see the results. The independents were wiped out. They were left with 10% of the beds. Netcare got stolen. Mediclinic also got stolen. But Life Health, more than Mediclinic, as you can see, they now have 90% of the beds. What are the results? They call the shots. They call the prices. They are the ones who are making the prices. Don't think medical aid and specialists are making prices. They are made by private hospitals. And they call any price they want because they now have monopolies. You can look at the price of private health care now. Starting from 1990, it was affordable moving according to inflation. It changed in 1998. That graph there, that arrow, that is heading for the sky. That's the pricing in private health care because of market concentration. Now, this is where the war is. That's why the people who are fighting NHI are not even health workers. Mostly they are business people, if you checked. Yes. The fight that was staged by Busa is because they are in business. Why? Look at that graph. Red is the cost of debt. How much money do you borrow to build a private hospital? And blue there, or purple, is the return on investment or profit. In any business, you start with capital, you owe, you work, you break even, you start making profits. As you can see, the profits here started in 1998. These are not profits, they are super profits. If you think I'm lying, go to compare. There is no place to make a profit in South Africa than in the private healthcare system. Not in the mines, not in energy. No, it's like that. You go to a private hospital. If you have got money, you invest in a mine, you'll get your income after 7 years, your profit after 7 years. In healthcare, you get it immediately. Yes. And somebody asked me, why do sick people pay so much money? I said, no, because they are scared to die. Comrades, let me tell you here, I'm a doctor. Yes, they are. I'm a doctor. If I go to a colleague who examines me and say you are growing a tumor in your head and we need to remove it and we want 250,000 rand, on what basis am I going to argue with him? I can't see what is inside my head. It's not possible. It's not like a pair of shoes where I can say, oh, this one is mad. Let me go to the next shop. I'm going to agree. You're going to pay. Whatever they want, you'll pay. If you are unable to pay, word goes out in the newspapers, they put you there and they start cheating the nation that this poor person is sick. For them to get, okay, we want 250,000 and he doesn't have it. Can you pay? And people start feeling guilty, they pay. That is extortion. I don't know. Yeah, we're making, yes, it's extortion against the nation. We're making noise against extortion in the construction industry. This is sophisticated extortion. Because where is that money going to? It's not for this person who has got a tumor. It's like, I don't know, I don't want to speak ill of Christianity. I'm still a Christian, by the way. But there are churches these days where poor people donate money, believing they are giving it to God. When they are giving it to Mfundis, yes. So you will believe you are giving this money to this sick person. You're not. They are extorting you. Because the public is not supposed to be paying for health care of individuals in the population. It's not. So, but the reason is that. Now, GPs, people who own surgeries in townships and rural villages, they hate NHI. But I've been meeting them in the last few weeks. They believe NHI is going to make them poor. I show them that they are already poor. This is 2010. No, they are poor. I'm not joking. This is 2010. The amount of money collected by all people who have got medical aids was 84.7 billion. Yes, as you can see, the biggest price went to private hospital. They got 30 billion out of that, followed by specialists, then pharmaceutical companies. Then, that is written as medicine there. GPs only got 6.7 billion. All of them. What's wrong with that? Look at the bottom. People who are called non-health, they got 6 billion. People who are called non-health, they never touch a patient. They push paper. They are brokers. They are everything that is to do with the administration of health, except that they don't touch a patient. But they earn more money than doctors in our township and villages. That was 2010. Fast forward now, 2022, not now, 2022, 2 years back. You can see the GPs just moved from 6.2 to 11. The non-health at the bottom is rate 18.9 billion. So 18.9 billion in health care goes to people who have got nothing to do with health. They earn more than doctors. Now, what is worrying? The GPs were earning 6.2 billion in 2010, and it was 7.31% of the health expenditure. Now it has gone to 5.25. What does it mean? GPs are doing primary health care. It means our primary health care is reversing. And what does it mean? For communists to understand it, it means we are actually moving in the opposite direction from where Cuba is going. Because Cuba is using primary health care. We are using a creative health care. In other words, the simplest way to explain it, we are moving away from a system like what is in Cuba, faster to the system that is in America. That's what that 5.25% shows. And that's why I'm saying we are in trouble. Now, I want you to absorb that. Those graphs there, the blue is black people. The gray is white people. I have got to define people by color, unfortunately. In 1960, the first set of graphs shows private sector. It's showing the number of black people who were using the private sector. As you can see, it is that small thing, that small bar there, which is just above 0. It's not even 5%. And the huge one, more than 80%, is white people who are in private health care. In public health care, it reverses. It reverses. In public health care, more than 90% are African. And the whites are only that small percentage, about 20. That was 1960. Fast forward 2015, nothing has changed. The system is still racialized, yes. And what does it mean in real today's terms? 10% of the African population have got medical aid now. But 72% of the white population have got medical aid. That's the system we're having now. I want to repeat this. Only 10%, this system they say we want to destroy, helps only 10% of the African people. But in the white population is 72%. Why do you expect them not to defend it? Why do you? Why is it that it's mostly white people who defend this system and fight and all that? Even in the GNU, of course. You saw how we attacked, yes. No, but you are taking something from them. You're taking something from them. That's a fact. And if you take something from somebody who's going to fight, because freedom is not free. But the bottom line now, the surprising thing is this. The first person who showed that system is Dr. Henry Clarkman in 1944, who was asked to do a commission because there were poor whites. How do you save poor whites? He came with this type of situation and said, no, the system is not only financially discriminatory, it's also a racial system. Because blacks are on this side, whites are on that side. That was back in 1944. And what was the recommendation of the Clarkman Commission? I've got the report, you can come and fetch it. It was NHI. And why was nothing heard about it? Because 4 years later, National Party came into power. And National Party and NHI could not have been bedfellows. So it was destroyed and we never heard about it. And there are people who believe NHI is only starting now. Now, this is not me, it's from the World Bank. That's the World Bank report. They are comparing the amount of money spent in 64 countries around the world as a percentage of GDP, the one I showed you later. As you can see, the broken line at the bottom is the average for European countries. I told you they are at 9.8%. Mostly European countries, They are spending 9% of their GDP on health, just like Brazil. So we are not far from them at 8.5, but that's the average for Europe. That's why South Africa has got that vertical red line you can see. It's reaching there. At the top of Mount Everest there is the US. They are spending already 22% of their GDP on health. And what are the results? 43% of all the money that is spent on health globally is spent in the US. All the other countries, all of them, the whole of Europe, the whole of Asia, the whole of South America, the whole of Africa, you add them together, they spend the remaining 57%. 43% is spent by the US alone. And that's what Obama was trying to stop, because it is moving very fast. In 2012, it was only 12%. Sorry, not 12, 18. And the fact that it has moved so fast within a short space of time is a red flag for the US. But unfortunately, that's the system we are following. Dr. Margaret Chan, who was the Director General of the World Organization before Tedros, she asked me a question I can't answer. I was quite used to her. When we were in Geneva during the World Assembly, he said, Minister, in South Africa, your healthcare system is British. And she's right. We are running a British system, by the way, if you didn't know. The curriculum is British. That's why a nurse can leave South Africa today. Tomorrow start work, no orientation. It's the same curriculum. Many young doctors, when they leave here, they go to England, they just work. We're using the curriculum. Well, after all, they were our colonizers. So she says, you are using the British system. Fair. Whether that's good or not is immaterial, but fair. She then said, but when it comes to healthcare financing, you suddenly become American. And she said, tell me, at what stage in your country did you take this off-ramp to America? You were on a British highway, but you off-ramp to America. And she said, Minister, America has bequeathed the West in healthcare to the world. And she mentioned two things. That healthcare financing where I showed you that we in America are outliers. But secondly, this present litigation, I'm sure you saw it, where lawyers litigate and even steal from disabled children. That's an American system, where you sue the hospital system until it's down on its knees. Now in South Africa, because of that, to be a gynecologist in private practice, you must buy insurance for 1.3 million rand first. It was not like that before. You just open your practice. Today, just to open a practice as a gynecologist, you must put 1.3 million on the table. How many people will do that? How many people will be able to do that? That's an American system, so that's what she was asking me. Now, I want to show you something interesting there. There's America there at the end, which is spending 22% of GDP on health. Then there's another country. The fifth country after America is Lesotho, our neighbor here. It is number 5 in healthcare expenditure. In the mold of what Americans are doing. What will have happened in Lesotho? For Lesotho to suddenly wake up being the biggest spender in health. And you know very well that we are treating their patients. What happened is that Netcare went to Lesotho. Yes, they went to Lesotho. The biggest hospital in Lesotho, in Maseru, was Queen Elizabeth Hospital. That was their central hospital. We have got 10. We have got King Edward VIII. We have got Steve Biko. We have got Groteskir, Tigerberg. We have got Krisani Baragwanath and all that. There are 10. But in Lesotho, it was only 1. And in the center of Maseru, Netcare then goes and said, look, this hospital is dilapidated. There's no equipment, man. How do you call yourself a sovereign state? We will build you a brand new modern hospital and equip it. And of course, Lesotho agreed. Netcare went to Lesotho. They built that hospital. Of course, it's state of the art. And they equipped it. And they even duped them and said, why do you name your hospital Queen Elizabeth? That's a colonial name. Don't you have your own queens, man? And of course, Basotho agreed, they name it Queen Mamohatlo. Why am I telling you this story? At some stage, Lesotho was spending more than half of their whole healthcare budget on Queen Mamohatlo. At the moment, Basotho cannot afford Queen Mamohatlo. The irony, they were affording Queen Elizabeth. Now they can't afford Queen Mamohatlo. That's the irony. No, but that's what happened. Then they came to me when Chief Justice Ngobo was doing market inquiry. Dr. Mnyamani, who was the minister then, he's a surgeon, he said, can you allow me to go to Ngobo to show him what Netcare did to Lesotho? Of course, Judge Ngobo refused. He said, that's extraterritorial. The commission is conducting, it's a South African commission. Lesotho went to the World Organization, even to the World Bank, and said, please relieve us from the clutches of Netcare. Of course, they were not successful. So they terminated that contract unilaterally. In January, it's going to court. I'm eagerly waiting to see what will happen in court. Whether the courts will allow a small mountain kingdom to be destroyed by that. Now, I'm going to leave this. It just shows the prices. If you look at this report, it shows prices in healthcare, in investigation. That's what is called an angiogram. You can see number one is United States, South Africa is there. But on most of them, this is CT scan abdomen. Number one in terms of prices, US, South Africa is number two. We're more expensive than all those countries. Yes. All those rich countries. This is CT scan, pelvis, same thing. This is magnetic resonance imaging. A very powerful instrument that can see a tumor in your brain the size of a head of a pin. It can pick it up. So it's very essential. But who is selling more? United States, South Africa. I can go on. Well, there are places where South Africa is a little bit better, like on this one, and on hospital daycare and all that. But mostly, we are next to the US, and that's what Margaret Chan was asking me about. How did you leave the British trade? Now, I want to show you this graph, because we had NHI in South Africa, but we never called it that. Is there any indication that if you treat people, regardless of their socio-economic conditions, then you get results? That graph there is a graph of maternal mortality. The number of women per 100,000 who die in pregnancy and childbirth, that's maternal mortality. It's a big indicator of development in your country, whether you are developing. As you can see, by 2011, 2010, we're on top of the mountain because of the HIV/AIDS pandemic. We put together that big, world's biggest HIV counseling and testing, which you remember. There was an argument in the Department of Health that people who have got medical aid must pay. And I said, no. The moment you bring money in a healthcare system, in the way you want to bring it, you'll never win. I don't care whether you are a billionaire or not. If you are HIV positive, we put you on treatment. And that's what we did, we're still doing even now. We have got 5.5 million people, it's the world's biggest. We're not proud of that, but that is true. What has it done to maternal mortality? It came tumbling down until 2019. It went up again, that's COVID. After COVID, it's coming down again. But there it shows that you can actually achieve. If you put financial consideration aside and say, I'm going to treat people, a billionaire, Comrade Blade in Demander's kitchen girl or garden boy and all that, you treat them the same, you are going to get that result. Now, the present system, you see that Mfundisi, he comes from Tebecha. He has got cancer. He has been paying Discovery for 3 decades, 30 years. He was a member of Discovery. He has got cancer. The doctor prescribed a treatment that is costing 1.4 million rand. Discovery is refusing to pay. They are going to tell the congregation, Fundisi is in trouble, please pay. When his money was going to Discovery. That's what they are going to do. They do that all the time. Poor men. You know? There I'm just showing what medical aids are doing. That second patient, and it's not something I'm guessing, that patient gave me the invoice when I was addressing them in a village on NHI. That patient, the second patient, was charged 19,000 rand by the doctor. The medical aid agrees to only pay 5,000. And they say the 13,000 he must see to the finish. That is the out of pocket that we're talking about. Now, I want to show you the last slide. They are saying we are not improving the healthcare system. We must put up buildings first before we start NHI. Comrades, I'm informing you. If we did that in health, in education, we'll have been troubled. Do you remember 1994? In Eastern Cape, El Limpopo children were under trees. There were no toilets. There were no laboratories. We had nothing. But we set one education system. If somebody argued that, no, you can't, under Bantu education, you can't mix them with white education or Indian or colored education. Improve them first. We'll still be improving them up to today. There will not have been any change. Because some schools still don't have latrines and all that. So we are being told, improve the hospitals first before you start NHI. If you do that, you'll never have NHI. But if you successfully do that, you don't need NHI. What do you need it for? Because you'll have been able to improve the healthcare system. The aim of NHI is to improve the healthcare system. That's what every country did. Now I'm showing you the story of Lisikisiki. In Lisikisiki, there was no clinic. They've hired a building from an insurance company. I think it's Momentum Life or so, or Metropolitan, I'm not sure. The MEC then, unfortunately, clashed with that company. Instead of realizing that he has got a back against the wall, he did a fork and told them, no, he's not going to agree to their rental. They kicked him out, which means if they kick him out, there's no clinic. But people want a clinic there, so this is what was put in as a clinic. The tents. You can see there are women there. This happened in Lisikisiki. We didn't just create it. Mail and Guardian goes to Lisikisiki. They photograph this thing, and at the bottom they write NHI clinic. And yes, you can go and get that copy of Mail and Guardian. NHI clinic. When the state say NHI, this is what they are going to give you. They are still preaching that even today. That this government of yours, when they say NHI, prepare yourself for this. We went to Lisikisiki. This is what we put up. You have never seen it. Not in any TV. Despite the fact that the president went there officially to open this thing with Zweli Mkhize. It was never shown on any TV or in any paper. Because in the minds of people, you must remain with these tents. That's why when one thing happens in Helen Joseph Hospital, it's all over. In Bara, it's all over. Anything that happens in a public hospital is all over. Even at the moment, we are busy renovating 150 hospitals now. And that counts for nothing. I can show you. All the hospitals are renovating, even the new ones who are building. I think there are about 27 new hospitals that we are building. That are totally new or a replacement of those who have aged. We are busy doing that. But in the minds of people who want to destroy NHI, they want the tents. Now, that is still Lisikisiki. Yes. That is Lisikisiki inside. It seats 500 people. And at the same time, we open many others. Can South Africa afford NHI, as they are asking us? This is my last slide. Can we afford it? I've already showed you that we are spending 570 billion. That's half a trillion. There are not many countries that are spending that. If we can just correct the skewed way in which we are spending it. Now they say we must cost NHI. Private health care started in 1967. Nobody costed it. Why should we cost NHI? And is it possible to cost it? How can you cost a lifelong process? In 1994, if they said you must cost democracy, where were you going to start? If they ask you and say you are refusing, yes. Now, they say we must cost it. Comrades, this is what we are going to do. We are going to cost the part we are going to implement. Where are we starting with NHI? Number one, the state has taken a decision that we must start grade R. All 5-year-olds must go to school. Let me tell you, because we have done it in the pilots, which they say have failed. There are many kids who go to school who can't hear very well. And we think they are dull. And mostly they are black. Many kids who can't see very well and we think they are dull. Many kids who can't speak very well because of oral hygiene problems. There are many. There's an optometrist who asked me, he said, an ophthalmologist said, every year I see children of people with medical aid coming here for eye tests before they go to school. When are the poor ones coming? They are going to school to learn the same thing, but this one cannot see. So we are going to make a rule. Every child, regardless of which home they come from, must have an eye test, hearing, oral hygiene. That is going to be our first. We will cost it and show the nation that our first step of NHI is this, all kids. Our next step, pregnant women. We will draw a program where every woman who's pregnant know their package, that they can go and see a GP 4 times during the pregnancy, and a specialist 2 times, and a CT scan 2 times. That is very much affordable. We can afford it. And I can go on and on and on. Those are the things you'll cost. You can't cost the whole NHI. The story that is going around from Momentum Live, that NHI will cost 1.3 trillion, if you remember that. It's all over. And I said, that's mathematical hooliganism. They thought I'm mad. I am still saying so, because Momentum Live came to meet me and said, I've insulted them. I said, no, but why did you do this? He said, no, it's not us, it's the media. What we're doing different projections. And our projection was, if all South Africans use private health care, it will cost 1.3 trillion. You know that not all South Africans will use private health care. If we do that, what do I do with all these big hospitals? What do I do with Barak, Groteskir, Tigerberg, Steve Biko? Am I going to close them and say you are all going private? For what reason must you all go private? And when we say you don't go private, does it mean we are giving you poor quality? No. Comrade Chair, I remember I said last, but you know me. Last. Yes. Last. We, by being insulted about long queues, poor quality, mismanagement, comrades, money follows people. If you take money and put it in private health care like I've shown you, all the good people will go there. I'm not destroying anybody's name. If I'm lying, go to prove it. Go to Park Lane Clinic. It's here next to Vets. Park Lane Clinic has got 56 gynecologists working there. You don't have to get inside and ask. They put it on the board. They put their names there. There are 56 gynecologists there. What is the significance of that? It's more than the total number of gynecologists in Mpumalanga, Limpopo, and Northwest added together. Yes. We don't have 56 gynecologists in Mpumalanga plus Limpopo plus Northwest. We don't have. They're in one private clinic. And the rest, but how many pregnant women are we treating in the public health care sector? 1,060,000. Because there are 1.2 million people that fall pregnant every year. The private sector, with all that money, 51% of the total healthcare expenditure, they are seeing only 140,000 women. The rest, 1,060,000. They come to the public sector to come and queue there and find no gynecologist. Make your own decision whether we must leave that situation like that. Thank you very much.
Amandla phambili ne-NHI phambili ngumtswaleti phambili amandla. Comrades, we can only take 4 comments or questions because time is against us now. Seriously. Thanks for that wonderful presentation. I'm listening to it for the 4th time, but I don't get bored. Each time I listen to it. That white paper there, you number 1. This column here, I've already got one there. Here, if there's no one, I'm taking you there, number 2. Right? Frontline. Kaiser Chiefs strikers. Kaiser Chiefs strikers. No one here. Okay. Yes. You are number 3. That side? Oh, yeah. Eastern Cape, we are number 4. Those are the only, and please be brief, because if you are not brief, Comrade Mtswaledi also becomes longer. As he says, you know, I know him. So, number 1. I'll take all the questions at the same time. Number 1.
Okay, Chairperson, thanks. Chair, thanks very much. Sihlalo. My name is Comrade Mapaseka from Mpumalanga. We really appreciate the presentation of Minister of Health. But Babu Mtswaledi, I just want to ask a question because I have a concern as a South African. The Department of Health idilanjani ngama foreigners who are coming in South Africa. They are not taxpayer, abapatari tax, but they get medication in our country. From there, batata the very same thing. They are killing our own children. Sitting logo as a department, as a government. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was very exemplary. Number 2.
Thanks, Comrade Chair. My name is Tembinkosi Pulu from Gauteng Vaal District. Actually, we wish to propose that whatever the discussions and whatever that we might seek to, let's just take it to commissions. Because this was just a presentation, but in commission we'll be able to give it a class perspective. Thank you very much.
Great suggestion. But because I have already promised 2 comrades, let me not break my promise. Where's number 3? I'm sorry, comrades, to call you by numbers.
Chairperson, ndizawuthetha home language yami isiXhosa.
Thetha.
Ndiyabulela kuMinister ngale ngxelazanayo. And ke inhle le ivela yaselesekiseka into. Kodwa singase ingapheli kulesibona pha. Indawo endihlala kuyo ndihlala kwindawo yase Western Cape, kwidolopha lencipho iGrapo. Apho kusweleka omama every day bebeleka because odoctor babini. And kudala lonto kuba ngaprotestwa kusithiwani akukho ncedo odoctor bayi2. Saba neprotest iparty ayivula 24 hours but odoctor bakongezwe basebabini nangoku. Every day kusweleka abantu abangomama bebeleka phaya. Ndicela uMinister angenele nje kulanto yaseGrapo kula day hospital. Enkosi.
Thank you. Enkosi Qabane. Number 4.
Mandibulele sihlalo. My name is Xolani Malamlela from the Eastern Cape. Listening to the Minister, it looks like this is a very important and an urgent program for intervention, especially for the poor in our country. Now my question is very simple. Why is it then the President is delaying the implementation of this very important program? Thank you very much.
Yeah. Number 1, what do we do about foreign nationals? We are people from other countries. We are dealing with them in terms of the Constitution. The Constitution on Section 27 is very clear. Subsection 1, everyone has got a right to good quality healthcare services, including reproductive healthcare system. Number 2, the state must do everything within its available resources to make sure that this is realized. Number 3, no one may be refused emergency medical treatment, which is breached almost every day. No one may be refused emergency medical treatment. Those are the things which guide us. But secondly, on the pragmatic side, will you be happy if we say we want to bring an end to HIV and AIDS? I'm just giving that as an example. I'm sure you have heard about 95, 95, 95. That 95 of people must know their status. 95% of those who know their status must be on treatment. And 95% of those who are on treatment must be viral suppressed. Then we'll have brought an end to HIV and AIDS. If there are people from other countries who are HIV positive and you don't treat them, what are you saying? TB also, which infect people at a very fast pace. Even COVID, you saw during COVID. Even immunization. So there are things that you cannot run away from, no matter how painful they are. But it's much more complex than that. I'll explain to you when we start releasing the regulations. Only 2 doctors in Krabo. Are you surprised, comrade? That's what I was telling you the whole evening. Yes. There will only be 2 doctors there because all the money has gone to one side where the elite are. And I'm not saying the elite must not get that. I'm saying those services must be open to everybody. It's not only Krabo. What is that small town of the Karoo? When this issue of litigation started, there were only 4 gynecologists there. They closed up and ran away. Because where do they get 1.4 billion rand from? So it's not surprising that we have got 2 doctors there. The last one, why is the president delaying NHI? The president is not delaying NHI. Not by any means. Not. On the 29th, we met for the first time after the elections. We met as a National Health Council. The National Health Council is a statutory body. In other departments, it's called MINMEC. We don't have a MINMEC in health because MINMECs are just coordinating bodies. We have got a statutory body in terms of Section 61 of the National Health Act of 2003. And what is this statutory body? It's a body chaired by the minister with all the 9 MECs, with the Surgeon General of South African Military Health Services and 2 representatives from SALCA because they are running clinics. When that body meets, it's called National Health Council and it's statutory. The National Health Council went to all the regulations on NHI. They are ready. We wanted to release them, but the problem is that they were only done in 1 language. We are still translating them in all the languages. Early in January, we'll release the regulations on NHI because we only have an act. In the same NHC, there was that Ngobo Commission, which you know, Health Market Inquiry. We have also finished analyzing the recommendations. We are about to release them. And what is it going to do to the nation? One of the things Judge Ngobo proposed is that we need a pricing commission. That's also in the NHI Act. You can't allow the private sector just to run with prices. Yes. We need to regulate those prices. And we are going to get the body to regulate them, whether through the market inquiry or through NHI, because it's also in that act. So we're not stopping. We will only stop if Parliament reverses that act or if a court of law stops it. And at the moment, there are 3 cases. One by Solidarity, the other by Board of Healthcare Funders, the last one by specialists. And the judges informed us that we need to respond to the affidavits on the 27th of October. We did so. We sent the affidavits in, and the case is going to sit in March next year. So nothing is stopping. During that moment, that period, we will be going on and preparing the implementation of NHI. So the president hasn't stopped anything. That I can assure you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Comrade Minister. A very good job. And thanks for your patience to allow us to finish our other business. And you were here on time. We really appreciate that. Comrades, we are still going to have time in the commissions to actually engage this. This has been a really rich input. We want to thank you very much, Muhammad, and your commitment and your passion. I know you. We are a good minister. That I know for a fact. So we can release you now and say thank you very much. I don't know, Comrade GS, whether you want to say a word or two. Because you are leaving tonight, so a resource person will come from your department to the commission to be a resource person. So that we are able to ask. A big round of applause, comrades, surely. Surely. Right. Now, the time now, comrades, it's 21:16. All right, which means it's 16 minutes past 9 p.m. I don't use this a.m. and p.m. anymore. We must all be scientific. It's 21:16. Now, we had that last matter. Wasn't that the last item that we were dealing with before? The adoption of the program. Now you want to make a suggestion? Oh yeah, comrades. By the way, we dare not forget, as the party of the working class, that Sacp is made by workers who should have served us, long served us by now, and they also have got to go home. So we seriously have a crisis. My sense, if you were to ask me, I don't want to suppress anyone, in persuasion, is actually to say, more comrades are saying, Eastern Cape and Western Cape, you are correct. But we can't change this now because we have already invited people to be here. That's not saying your concerns are irrelevant. I'm sure everybody agrees that your concerns are relevant. Just act in a comradely fashion to say, never again. This thing shall happen. This is the last time. You know, my youngest grandson now has got this new habit into my iPhone. No more. If you continue, because of Babu Akumtswan, Umam Umzul, at Heban, it's going to be 2 years only in January. Can we close it at that? We are not saying, your concerns are understandable. And this matter was dealt with at Congress, and we agreed, but we didn't do it now. There was no bad intention out of that. So, why don't we agree, never again shall this happen. Never again shall it be, as Madiba said. Why don't we agree, comrades, and clap hands and close this meeting? Now, what I'm doing is not repression, it's called persuasion. Now, that then concludes. In other words, we've adopted the agenda. Okay. Clap hands for yourselves. Now, I'm really rushing this, but there are important announcements to be made by Comrade Jenny.
Thank you, Comrade Chair. The first one is picking up on Comrade Motsoaledi's presentation on NHI. We have a medical facility at the Congress It's in Sapphire Room in the international section. And I'm sure Comrade Lech is reminding us about the importance of us ensuring that we do have that facility. So Sapphire, not in Bulgaria, in the international section, is where our medical staff is. The media, your room for tomorrow will be shifting to the auditorium, also on the international side. And now, comrades, the most important part, and I'm asking that you wait until you hear the end of this before you leave your seats, because otherwise this national chair is going to be holding me accountable for dismissing you before he does. In relation to dinner, all of the delegates will be eating at the Serengeti building, which is the thatched roof building. So you go out of this courtyard to the left, always to the left, as you walk out of here. So from the plenary hall, head left, and that is where you will be having your dinner, and that is also where tomorrow morning you will be having your breakfast. We are requested for guests, the Alliance affiliates, as well as our invited guests, to please remain in the hall, and we will then be ushered to the dining room where we will be eating, and then tomorrow morning, again, breakfast in the same place. The last announcement is just a reminder that our Congress program requires us as delegates to be seated at 8:30 so that we can start our plenary at 9 o'clock. And we have adopted the rules and procedures with acclaim from the Congress. Let's show that we have that discipline. Thanks, Comrade Chair.
Okay, comrades. The announcements have been made, and I hope they are all clear. Now, tomorrow, we start at 9. But we want to persuade comrades to start taking seats as from 8:30. So that 9 o'clock on the dot, we start. And the first item tomorrow will be the introduction of guests and acknowledgement of solidarity messages. That will be done by the Second Deputy General Secretary. So tomorrow, Comrade Tulas will be chairing item 12, item 13, and then I will chair to introduce the General Secretary to give the political report. And thereafter, Comrade Tulas continues for as long as I am allowing him to. And comrades from KZN, please close your ears. If it doesn't do things right, I will take the microphone from his hand. But the comrades from KZN must close their ears on the matter of snapping of microphones. Comrades, you have been very well behaved. Please continue along these lines from 8:30, and we start at 9 o'clock exactly. Amandla. Phambili ngesapha phambili. Thank you, comrades.